guys, this is Tara with Kittens, Weights, and Tarot, and today I'm going to be making a pumpkin pie from scratch. So this is a requested video. You guys wanted to see how I do this. So you're going to need one sugar pumpkin. So I'll give you the ingredients list of making the actual pumpkin pie once I get this ready. If you don't want to make the pumpkin pie with a real pumpkin, you'd rather just get the pumpkin puree, which I guess is real pumpkin. It's just, you know, somebody else does it for you. You need about 1.5 to 2 cups of the puree, but you're going to be making about 1.5 to 2 cups with this sugar pumpkin. So make sure that you have sugar pumpkin here. Make sure also that you have some olive oil because we're going to be coating the inside of that with this and placing it on our baking sheet, and we're going to be popping it in the oven. So you want to make sure that you pop it in for 20 to 30 minutes at 375 degrees. So I'm actually going to set my oven right now. Okay, what you're going to want to do is cut the top off of this so that you have a solid base to work with. So I'm just going to give myself a little starter point there. And then you're going to take your pumpkin and you're going to turn it upside down so you have a nice flat base, and actually use a towel to keep from digging into your hand as you cut this. So you're going to have the two halves here, and you're going to want to scoop out all the guts, and then you can use the guts for roasted pumpkin seeds. Okay, so we now have all of these wonderful pumpkin guts to, well, you know, make some roasted pumpkin seeds for later. So I'm going to set this off to the side, show you guys the, I guess, smearing of the olive oil on the pumpkins. Okay, so we have our 2 pumpkins here. All the guts have been taken out, so I'm just going to put a little bit of the olive oil here. We don't need to add anything else to them because they're just going to be pureed, and we're going to add all the spices to the puree afterwards, so we don't need to add anything to the olive oil. So I'm just going to give it a little drizzle. And then you're going to have to get your hands dirty. So now once the oven is up to temp, I'm going to put these in for, like I said, about 20 to 30 minutes. Okay guys, we are back. So took about 25 minutes or so for the pumpkin to cook up, heat up in the oven. So, you know, they'll turn a really dark orange color afterwards, and they'll be nice and squishy. So you can see they're a little bit more squishy now than they were before. So I have my mixing bowl here, and what I'm gonna do is just scrape it out ice cream style and put it in here, and then we're going to puree it. Okay, so some of you guys wondered, will Loki eat pumpkin? What, Loki? And the answer is yes. This is like a surprise, will Loki eat it? Yeah. And pumpkin is really good for kitties. It's good for their digestive system. Wandy? Okay, so we placed the pumpkin in the blend tech, which we do not have a food processor, So it took a little bit of finessing to get it nice and pureed, but it's baby smooth now, and I'm gonna measure out 1.5 cups of it to place into my KitchenAid mixer along with the ingredients, and we'll show you what those ingredients are. Okay, so let's go through the ingredients for the best pumpkin pie ever. Okay, so you are going to need, of course, your pumpkin puree, which is right over here, but you are going to need 3/4 of a cup of brown sugar. So I have my brown sugar here. Let's see, going over to cinnamon, you're going to need 1¼ teaspoons of ground cinnamon. You're going to need 1 teaspoon of ground ginger, 1 teaspoon of ground nutmeg, 1/4 teaspoon of ground cloves, 1/8 of a teaspoon of ground allspice, and 1/2 teaspoon of salt. So we're using my pink Himalayan salt here, so we're going to use 1/2 teaspoon there. And over here, some pure grade A from Canada maple syrup. So this is 2/3 of a cup of maple syrup. And I'm modifying a recipe actually, so usually you're going to have 1¼ cups of half and half. I'm using heavy whipping cream. I think it's going to make it much fluffier because, well, by having this in the blend tech, this already made the puree pretty fluffy, so I think this is going to be a very fluffy pumpkin pie. Looking back at my ingredients here, oh, you're going to need 1 teaspoon of all-purpose flour, so everything is very small. You're going to need 3 eggs, 3 huevos. Make sure that you have a 9-inch baking shell. So I have my little pie crust already in my baking dish. And over here you're going to have your 1½ cups of pumpkin puree. I have a little bit more than 1½ cups, but not too much more. Okay, so we have our pumpkin puree inside, and we're going to be putting in 3/4 of a cup of brown sugar. I'm a little more generous with my ingredients, so put a little bit more. We're going to be putting in 1¼ teaspoons of this ground cinnamon. Like I said, I'm a little more on the generous side. A little more cinnamon never hurt anybody. 1 teaspoon of ground ginger. Okay, ground ginger. We're gonna be extra generous with the ginger. Yes, I love ginger. Okay, we're going with a teaspoon of nutmeg, ground nutmeg. Like I said, we're kind of generous. Maybe a little bit more. There we go. Okay, we're going with 1/4 teaspoon of ground cloves. So let's get all up in there. Get our ground cloves on. A little bit more cloves. There we go. Okay, we're going to be doing 1/8 teaspoon of ground allspice. And just, you know, a little extra. It's that little extra. And we're going to be doing 1/2 teaspoon of salt. Because this is in a grinder, I have to kind of eyeball that. So we're going to do a little bit of eyeballing. Okay, so I'm going to be taking all of my ingredients and I'm going to be mixing them together. So I'm going to lift this up. So I've added in about 2/3 of a cup of maple syrup already and my generous 1 teaspoon of flour. So I'm just gonna slowly mix those together. And we're gonna mix in 1 of the eggs. start putting the other two in one at a time. All right, so now I'm gonna slowly add in my heavy whipping cream. Okay, so we have roughly our 9-inch pie shell in our glass pie container. And I'm gonna be pouring in our pumpkin stuff. I whipped it a little bit longer just to make it a little fluffier. Okay, what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna put a little foil around the edge just to protect the tops of the crust from burning while this is cooking, because it's gonna cook for 1 hour at 350 degrees. So I'm getting ready to put that in the oven. I am grateful that we have a double oven because the dude is using the pumpkin seeds to roast us some pumpkin seeds. So we're going to be baking some pumpkin seeds, which she's already doing right now, so I need to use the other part of the oven. Okay, so like I said, this is set to 350. There we go. And I like to put things on baking sheets just for heating purposes, and like I said, I ringed it in foil just to protect the crust from getting too cooked. So bye-bye. In an hour I will see you. Okay, the pie is still baking. I just put it in, but the pumpkin seeds are all ready. So how long, or what'd you do the pumpkin seeds?
Let's see, that's melted butter, Himalayan salt, and then 45 minutes at 300 degrees.
All right. Okay, so I just brought the pie out, so it is now deflating a little bit. That's going to happen. So I had to insert a knife in, you know, every once in a while just to make sure that it's coming out clean. Once it comes out clean, your pie is done. That means the center is cooked. Looks like my foil did well protecting the edges from burning because it had to stay an extra 35 minutes. So it came to 1 hour and 35 minutes to cook. But yeah, it gets all big and poofy when it's inside the oven, and then once it comes out, it kind of deflates. So yeah, it's pretty good. I'm actually having some pumpkin spice tea. And the dude is going to whip up some whipped cream with our heavy whipping cream. So we'll get back to you. All right, so off to go enjoy my slice of pumpkin pie. Maybe with Wally. And this is homemade whipped cream. The dude just whips them up in the blend tech using heavy whipping cream and powdered sugar. So very easy, it took like a minute. And then voila. All right, so that's it from me, spiritual homies. That is my homemade pumpkin pie using real pumpkin. And I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Like I said, this was just a requested video, so I thought I would make a video while I was baking anyway. So if you guys dug it, don't forget to give it a thumbs up. Don't forget to click subscribe, and don't forget to click that ding, ding, ding notification bell for more videos just like this. And if you want to catch a reading from me, head over to www.kittenswaitsandtarot.com. Maybe you want a reading about baking, I don't know. And if you want to throw a little love my way, think about joining that KWT tribe over at patreon.com/kittenswaitsandtarot. And I will catch you spiritual homies later. Peace, love, and chicken grease. Peace out.